Hello there, Nettie here. Welcome in to Transcending Love. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing? Hopefully you're great. As am I. I am wonderful, exceptional, and marvelous. So extra. I always be having to add extras to it, but I really be feeling all the way, all the ways. So y'all know we don't show up over here just to be showing up. We got the messages. And what just happened? I don't know. Oh, it must be 6. Anyway, my phone my phone went dim and I was like, what's going on? Because I had elected not to use the actual light. But then my phone went dim and I realized I got it set to dim at 6. So I'm assuming it's 6. And time to dim out the lights. But that is quite significant actually to the message. I always love when spirit sends signs as confirmations to the message or a sign even to redirect. And this was just that. Um, so apparently, the message. The other thing that's good to know about this process is for me, I try to make sure that spirit is always present. I mean, spirit don't ever go nowhere, but I always make sure that I am intentional about inviting spirit for the message because that is who I want to teach you all. That is the whole purpose for me being here. Is that these are channeled spirit led messages so that you might be able to receive the help and assistance that is specific to you. Not every message will be for every person every time, but I trust that all those who are in need of hearing every message from Spirit in the appropriate time, it will find them. The messages are timeless. So, whenever you need Spirit and you need some guidance in this life, I trust that at least a couple of these videos will be of help and guidance to you. That said, is your light being dimmed? Would you know if your light's being dimmed? Are you dimming your own light? You got to make sure that you're not positioning yourself in this life as an extra, but actually as what most would consider the main character. And although it seems really cliche, it is a very real situation. If you think and consider how many of us live our lives before we are awakened to who we really are, we are living in the background. We are not being the main character in our lives. We are allowing the world and everyone in it to dictate how we navigate when it's never meant to be that way. We all have our own lives for a reason. It's not for nothing that we are not all the same person walking around here. There's a need for your specific expression. Sources wanting to express itself through you, through each and every one of us in unique and different ways. We all flow together in our gifts and in the ways that the universe decides to express through us, or a source begins to express through us. It all works cohesively together, especially when we are aligned with what it is Spirit is trying to do within us. Each person's journey is different, and the way they align will be very likely different because they require something on their path that you don't necessarily require, and vice versa. That is such a beautiful part of this life. But make sure that you are not dimming your light. You are shining brightly as you should, as you require, as you are chosen to do. And by chosen, I mean that you have chosen to come and to be light in whatever way that is in this world. So do that. Don't negate the path because of the thoughts of other people or because you are different than the traditional standard of whatever the area or gifting that you function in. You don't have to be like any other person in that area. It is okay for you to set the trend for your life. You have to, it is a must. There's nobody else that can live your life. There's nobody else that can present to this world all the things that you have to offer. They just can't. They may be able to present a certain thing, but they cannot present to the world you and all that you come with. That's dope as hell. Keep that in mind and let it encourage you when you think about all the things that you feel like you can't do. You can do a whole lot. And if there are things that you can't do, which I'm sure there are few, compared to how you like how much you actually can do, don't look at those things. If you know you can't do them, like if so, and I'll say it in this way because it's not ever necessarily that you can't do them because you are incapable. It's just that you haven't given it the required time to be able to be proficient in whatever that area is. I am not a basketball player. Does that mean I can't play basketball? From a traditional standpoint, the answer would be yes. But from a more meaningful standpoint, the answer would be no, because I can play if I begin to put forth the effort to learn the skill, hone that skill, then yes. But since I'm not willing to do that, no, that's not for me. No, I can't. So it's only that you can't in that sense, not because you are completely incapable. You just haven't put in the time necessary to be able to be proficient in that particular thing. But also, Spirit was talking before I hit record on here about intentionality. I talk a lot about intentionality, but I'm realizing that we haven't tapped into what it really means to be intentional. It would seem uh, to suggest or stand to reason for many of us that we just take the definition of the word and we go with it. But like, how often do we actually consider the definitions of words as they truly are? And sometimes it's you can't because it's not the actual Webster's dictionary doesn't define a thing in the way that it actually is, if that makes sense. I know that it's the source that we often go to for many of our definitions, but that doesn't make it law for many definitions. And many of the definitions in there have been changed for the same words over time. Yeah. Many of those words have more to do with social justices and injustices, though. And I'll just leave that right there kind of as a point to discuss later. Not necessarily in this video, but at another time. But what is intentionality? It is a focusing of attention, is what Spirit is saying. It is a directing of attention, is what Spirit is saying. You get laser focused on a thing and you go after it and it alone. And when I say go after it and it alone, it doesn't mean that you can't do other things. It means that in the area of this particular desire or thing, you focus only on it and move toward that direction. Because everything in your life is already worked out. This is an infinite life. There are versions of you doing all manner of thing, every single thing, if you will. But you get to choose. I don't know if I had something in my teeth the whole time. Anyway, um, you get to choose which of those paths you take. None of them are wrong. You just choose what feels best to you at the time, what brings you the most joy at the time. Maybe you'll choose another path in another life, but in this one, you've chosen what you've chosen, or you're still working through what you will choose, and that's okay. But the way you accomplish that thing is you set your sights on it. That is intentionality at its finest. And you just do the things that align you and put you in the vibration with whatever that desired outcome is, whatever that goal is, whatever that hope is, whatever the dream is that you have for your life. You just align yourself with it. And you do that over and over and over repeatedly until you get to that place. That is intentionality. That means that you do every measure of thing that sets you in alignment with what it is that you say you want. So let's say you want $1 million. Well, what does it take to get the $1 million? You might start at, okay, I need a job. The purpose of the job is to provide income that pushes you in the direction of the $1 million at base level. Okay, because I got to be able to take care of the responsibilities that I have along with moving forward with this goal. So, another measure of intentionality there would be I need to make sure that I am employed by an employer who provides enough money for me that I have excess of my bills. That way I can save and I can invest. And so that was kind of the saving and investing is the next part. Or you create for yourself a business or multiple businesses that provide for you income. You don't necessarily have to go the employer route, but it still would require some work from you in creating things that provide for you income that not only takes care of your basic necessities, but gives you an excess in such a way that you will be able to create more money from that money. You want that money to have money babies. And that is how you get to the point of making money while you're sleeping and you're having these multiple streams of income because you are creating things, or you get the job and you create the side hustle and you have this two sources or three sources or whatever, however many things you do outside of your regular job. If you so choose to have a job working for another employer, it's all a build up and it's in intentionality. Okay, so what do I want from my life? Do I want to work for somebody? I can do that for a period of time while I build. Okay, so I work for somebody. I just need to make sure they pay enough to be able to take care of the bills and provide an excess so that I can create this other thing that I ultimately want to do and create another stream of income from. Okay, bet, got that in place. So now that I've created this has created also an excess in abundance monetarily for you to create some other things. Okay, from here, where do I go? So now I can begin to invest some money. I can put money in the stock market, or I can put money in a CD, or I can put money in a high yield savings account, and those things are creating more money. But you want to, intentionality is doing the research that leads you to the place that can expand your money or compound your money the greatest over time. And once you figure out that way, then you begin to funnel your money in every excess. Um, well, not necessarily every excess, but in proportion to that place. Okay, so now you have another stream of income coming in because when you put money into this other avenue that you've researched and it compounds your money, then that is growing your money still, right? But because you haven't put every single dime in excess in there, you still have money to create another stream of income. So now you have the place of employment. Now you have the business that you, or the side hustle that you've created. Now you have whatever your wealth building, like whatever the additional thing is that compounds your money outside of whatever the business is that you created or side hustle. Okay, so now you have three, and you just keep on adding things to that as reasonably as you can and in ways that make sense for you to be able to do it. And let's say alongside that you have like a high yield savings account. So that's four things right now that you have in the way of income, and three of those things are compounding your income. The side hustle is compounding the income that you get from your job. That is fueling the investments that you've made to whatever your compounding vehicle is. Well, to these two, in fact, because there was one that was unnamed. We didn't name it anything, but it is growing your money. And then we named a high yield savings account. So that's another thing that's compounding your money. So your money is continually growing because you said that you want to make $1 million, and this is the path to getting there. So along the way, you begin to think of and ask spirit for guidance on all of these different things and do the research. How many ways can you make your money make more money, right? And what makes the most sense to do to grow that money to the $1 million that you say that you want? That is intentionality. All of your efforts are utilized where this specific goal is concerned in the direction that you're trying to go. And along that way, you have implemented budgeting because you want to make sure. And these are the finer details that are so important to this measure of intentionality. We skipped into some larger steps, but the smaller steps in between is budgeting, making sure that you stand on track and you're not spending in excess of what you have